The storm broke before the sky did. I felt it long before the first crack of thunder, the shift in the air, the tightening in my chest, the weight of something unspoken crawling beneath my skin. It pressed against the base of my spine like a warning or a promise. And still, I followed him. Eryx didn't look back as we crossed the threshold into the ruins beyond the warded cliffs, but I felt him every step ahead of me. Felt the tension in his shoulders, the silence rippling off his back like a shield raised against whatever was coming. He was hiding something. Not the way men hide lies behind smiles. No. Eryx hid like a wound hides beneath stitched flesh. Taut, bleeding through. I didn't speak until we reached the hollowed chamber carved into the base of the mountain. Stone swallowed us whole, closing around my body like a tomb. He finally stopped, but didn't turn. "What is this place?" I asked, my voice thin in the damp air. He didn't answer. Instead, he lifted his hand and pressed it to the wall. A pulse echoed outward from his palm, a ripple of ancient energy that licked across the stones like lightning under skin. Sigils ignited, shadows trembled, and a hidden door groaned open with a hiss of old magic. I shivered, not from cold, from knowing. "This is where it started," he said finally, stepping inside. I hesitated at the threshold. Where what started? He didn't answer, just walked into the dark. So I followed, because I was too far gone to stop now. The room we entered was nothing like the rest of the ruins. It was older, raw, the air thick with ash and memory. Cracked chains hung from obsidian pillars, rusted by time, or blood. I couldn't tell. At the center, a stone altar rose from the floor like a broken spine. Eryx stood at its edge, his back still to me. "This is where I died," he said softly. My breath caught. "What?" "Not in the way you think, not flesh." He looked over his shoulder, eyes shadowed and sharp. "I died here as a man, and was remade as something else." My pulse skittered. "You mean the Veilborne?" "Yes." His voice sliced through mine. "This is where I was bound, to the magic, to the curse, to her." Her? The word landed like poison in my chest. "Who is she?" I asked, even though I wasn't sure I wanted the answer. He turned then, slow and deliberate, and the look in his eyes nearly knocked me back. Not rage, not grief, but something worse. Regret. She was my mate. The world went silent. I didn't move, couldn't. She was the first, chosen by the old gods, marked by fire and ash. We were bonded in this chamber, and she betrayed us both. His voice was made of broken glass, low, lethal. She tore the magic loose, tried to control it, tried to own it. And when it turned on her, she begged me to kill her. He stepped closer, shadows kissing the edges of his jaw. So I did. I couldn't breathe. "Eryx," I whispered, but even his name felt too intimate, too sharp in the echoing dark. He didn't blink. "Do you know what that does to a bond, Naira? To sever it with your own hand?" I shook my head. "It doesn't break," he said. "It festers. It stains everything that comes after." including this period. He reached for me, slow as the tide, fingers ghosting the curve of my jaw. This tether between us, it's not clean. It's built on rot, on magic that was never meant to survive. You feel it, don't you? Yes, I felt it every night when I woke breathless. Every time his touch branded me deeper than skin. I should have warned you, he whispered, but I didn't. Because some selfish part of me wanted to see what you'd become when it chose you. The bond, the shadows, the power clawing beneath my ribs. None of it had been random. I was marked from the start, I said, the truth turning my stomach. Yes. His hand curled into a fist, because she cursed me, and the magic chose you to finish what she couldn't. The pieces fell together like bones in a grave. You think I'm her? I choked. That I'm just some echo? No. His voice cracked like thunder. You're nothing like her. He stepped closer. You're worse. You're worse. The words hit like a wound reopened, but not because they were cruel, because they were true. I saw it in the way he looked at me. Not with hate, not even blame, with fear, not of me, of what I might awaken in him. I swallowed the thick silence gathering in my throat and stepped back. Just one step, but the space between us stretched like a chasm. Then, why keep me here? My voice was shaking, brittle with defiance I didn't feel. Why not cast me out the moment you realized what I was? His gaze dropped to my mouth, lingered there like it had every right to. Because I couldn't. I tried. You didn't try hard enough. Maybe, he said, stepping toward me again. Or maybe I wanted to see how far you'd fall before you realized you wanted it. I didn't ask for this, I snapped, even as heat licked up the back of my neck. But you didn't run either. He was close now, too close. The space I'd reclaimed disappeared like smoke. You've touched the edge of it, haven't you? He murmured, voice low and electric. The power beneath your skin, the way it bends for you, craves you. I hated that he was right, hated that part of me thrilled at the thought. But he wasn't finished. You think this bond is just magic and history? It's hunger, Naira. It's the thread that ties your ruin to mine. He reached for my wrist, wrapping his fingers around the pulse beating wild beneath my skin. Not tight, not cruel. Just there, unavoidable, unyielding. His touch burned, not with fire, but with memory. The night he first cornered me in the shadows, the moment his breath had whispered against my collarbone, the look in his eyes every time he said my name like it was a confession and a curse. I should have pulled away. Instead, I tilted my chin up and met his gaze head on. What happens if I let it consume me? I asked. A flicker of something passed across his face. Shock? Desire? Fear? I couldn't name it. You won't come back, he said, voice hoarse. Maybe I don't want to. He leaned in, forehead nearly brushing mine. His breath ghosted over my lips, tasting like dusk and defiance. You don't understand what you're inviting. Then show me. The silence after those words wasn't empty. It was electric. His grip on my wrist tightened just slightly, enough to remind me that he could break me apart if he wanted to. And gods, part of me wanted him to. But instead of kissing me, of claiming what hung between us like thunder begging to fall, he released me, stepped back, withdrew like the coward he never allowed himself to be. "No," he said, quiet, final, "not like this." The rejection cracked something in my chest. "You think this restraint makes you noble?" I spat, the shame in my voice too raw to hide. "You pull me into the fire, then walk away like I'm the one who asked to burn." His jaw clenched. "You already are burning." I shook my head. "You don't get to play both roles, Eryx. You can't be my executioner and my salvation." "I never claimed to be your salvation," he said, stepping toward me again with that maddening, deliberate control. "But maybe I'm the only one who knows how to walk you through the fire and leave enough of you intact." I hated how his voice wrapped around me like silk woven with blades. I hated how some twisted part of me believed him. But most of all, I hated that I was trembling, not with fear, with need. He reached up, and this time his fingers brushed a lock of hair from my cheek, slow and reverent, like I was something holy and haunted at once. "When you break," he whispered, "I want it to be because you chose to, not because I made it happen." And then he turned his back, walked away into the shadows of the ruin, leaving me alone, shaking, and more chained to him than I'd ever been. The moment Eryx vanished into the dark, the cold slammed back in. The air was thinner without him, like my lungs had only remembered how to breathe when his presence stole the oxygen first. Now it was all emptiness, too much space, too much silence. I pressed my back to the wall and let it hold my weight. He always left me like this, bruised, breathless, burning. I hated how I searched for his shadow even when I told myself I wouldn't, how I ached for the warmth of his restraint more than I feared its fire. I closed my eyes and let the memories bleed. Not just his touch, but the storm in his voice, the way it curled around my name like prayer and punishment, the way he looked at me like I was both prophecy and mistake. But it was the choice that broke me. The fact that he walked away when I'd finally dared to stop running. What does that say about you? That even when I wasn't chained, I still reached for the lock. I didn't sleep that night. Not truly. I wandered the crumbling halls like a ghost, passing broken windows that stared out into the cursed woods, where the trees shifted when no wind touched them. Every creak, every flicker of movement felt like him, haunting me without touching me. And when the moon climbed high enough to flood the eastern wing in silver, I found myself drawn back to the chamber where it happened. Where he happened. The fire was long out, the room empty. The scent of him still clung to the stones, spice and shadows, something older than memory. I stood in the center of that space and let the silence press in. Was this what surrender tasted like? Not in a kiss or a moan or the gasp before climax, but in this unbearable stillness after. No hands, no voice, just absence. I wrapped my arms around myself and whispered the only truth I had left. I don't know who I am without the burn. And maybe that was the most dangerous confession of all, because somewhere in the dark, I felt him. He hadn't left, not truly. He was watching, waiting, testing the edge of me without stepping over it. Fine, two could play at that game. I stepped out into the corridor and let the soft echo of my footsteps announce me. Past the blood-stained archways, the carvings etched with forgotten tongues, the glyphs that pulsed when I walked too close. Down, deeper, toward the underchambers, the place no one entered without permission or without punishment. I reached the final set of doors and paused. The air here was thicker, older. Magic coiled like smoke through the cracks in the stone. I didn't knock. I didn't whisper his name. I opened the door and crossed the threshold into his sanctum. And there he was, standing at the edge of a massive basin, hands braced on the obsidian rim, shirt discarded, torso bare, as if shedding armor had become a ritual he couldn't stop. His back was to me, muscles shifting beneath scarred skin, the marks etched like sigils, some carved by blades, others by something I didn't yet understand. He didn't turn when he spoke. I told you not to follow. His voice was gravel, cold, but not surprised. You didn't mean it, I said, stepping further inside, ignoring the way the walls trembled around me, how the shadows seemed to lean closer. No, he admitted, I didn't. He turned slowly, the full force of his gaze slamming into me like gravity reversed. You're playing with fire, Nira. I let the door fall shut behind me with a soft click. I'm done playing. A pause, a breath. Then he moved. Not rushed, not violent, but inevitable. He crossed the space between us in 3 unhurried steps and stopped just short of touch. His hand lifted, hovered at my throat, not quite touching. His knuckles brushed my jaw. You want to be ruined, he said, almost tender. And you want me to do it. I didn't deny it because I was done pretending. I want to know if there's anything left of me when you're done. A tremor passed through him. His control cracked. Just a little. Just enough. Say it again, he breathed. So I did. Ruin me. And this time, he didn't walk away.